What makes you most anxious in school?
Knowing if my friends are going to be there.
Getting work in on time.
Waking up early enough for school.
Getting homework assignments done on time.
Social interaction.
AP classes.
Making sure I get to school on time.
Preparing for tests.
Making sure I don't forget anything at home.
Picking out an outfit in the morning.
What is anxiety? Well, anxiety is defined as the apprehensive uneasiness or nervousness, usually in an impending or anticipated ill, a state of being anxious. Anxiety is one of the biggest factors that causes students from all around the world to suffer with anxiety. There are many reasons why certain groups of students struggle for different reasons. Students in the U.S. become stressed over things differently from students in South Korea, Vietnam, or even Guatemala. Every student has their own reason. Every kid may be something to be nervous about, big or small. We are going to focus on what makes different groups of students around the world nervous, what causes anxiety, and why it might be different from someone in Jackson High School. First, Avery will focus on what makes students anxious in the U.S.
The way kids learn and how they perform is different in every single country depending on where they live. I will explain a few things on how children learn in the United States. We have put together many interviews from grades 9 through 12 at Jackson High School. With these mini interviews, we have learned that kids here are more worried about how their success measures out. They worry from day to day about their homework and preparing for their next test to make sure they will do well on it. They set themselves to an unhealthy high standard that at times may even be impossible for them to reach, but they just keep pushing themselves to do better in school and always do their best, leading them to become really stressed out. When kids get stressed in school, suicide rates tend to go up. A quote, "Many American kids are driven to excel in school, athletics, and every other extracurricular activity in life, developing near-perfect resumes for college and beyond. But the stress and anxiety they feel may be too much," end quote. That quote was an article by Insider shows that kids in America are pushing themselves in school and beyond into sports and clubs, trying to do their absolute best.
We interviewed a group of kids from Jackson High School and asked them how stressed they were on a scale of 0 to 10, and here were some of their responses.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how would you say your anxiety affects your daily school life?
Like 4.
6. 3.
A 9.5.
8. 9.
9. 10.
Moving on to South Korea, anxiety is very different from anywhere else in the world. Children in South Korea are struggling to keep a healthy mindset and obtain good mental health throughout their lives here.
Who are susceptible to developing significant anxiety disorders, as we say. So yes, there's more of it, and it's affecting youth
The
as
school
well.
system we focused on throughout South Korea is a naval-based elementary school called Humphreys West Elementary School. At this school, students are being transferred in and out with their parents to have to move all around the world because of the military. Their type of anxiety is much different from other places around the world. The children have no clue when they will have to move again or even how long they will have to stay in the area for. These children are trying to grow and learn while battling to adapt to a new environment they are not used to. A journal about children's anxiety called IOE London Blog states, "Moves to worse housing, probably triggered by stressful circumstances, may well be bad for children's development." This shows how much children are affected by moving around while dealing with school. Students have so much anxiety already within the school, and this is added stress on top of it. Anxiety is different all around the world, but South Korea can be more willing to share what's going on over there. Our group had a teacher from South Korea share some inclusive things that happened over there causing anxiety. She moved to South Korea and works at an elementary school for kids who have parents in the military fighting all over the place.
The first one could just be that they may have change pretty often. Some families transition every year. Many times it's every 2 years. And so the students have anxiety with coming to a new school and making new friends. Another cause of anxiety is that even though they get the chance to be with their family overseas somewhere, their parent is still working, and often that job may require them to go and do some work out in the field and be away from home for a few days or a week.
These children are struggling every day due to the fact that they are always on the road moving. Kids in South Korea are trying to maintain their mental health and fighting their anxiety.
On to talking about Vietnam. Anxiety within school is somewhat similar to how other kids feel. Within the interview, Jennifer talked about how her anxiety comes from her parents putting stress onto her.
This is the pressure of I have to do good, and also my parents want me to do good. So
Jennifer attended the Asian International School from kindergarten to grade 8, which is when she moved to the US. She said her parents put a massive amount of stress on their kids to do well and to hold good grades. Parents in Vietnam and around the world are stressing their children out by forcing them to do extracurriculars, clubs, and things that help them get into college on top of the schoolwork that they already have. What parents don't realize is that they are overworking their kids and that they need a break. Students in Vietnam are feeling like they aren't good enough because their parents want them to be the best. On top of school, students have to go through the stress of parents wanting them to be the top of their class. Johns Hopkins website states that, quote, 39% of students find pressure from their parents to do well in school, quote. This quote helps to prove the point made above and shows how most kids feel toward their parents. Kids in the US, South Korea, and Guatemala are feeling stress in a different form from how kids in Vietnam feel. Kids in Vietnam are feeling more stressed than ever to do good in school because of the stress their parents are putting onto them.
Unlike children who go to school in the US, South Korea, or Vietnam, students from Guatemala aren't stressed because they have a test next week or that their parents will be mad that they got a bad grade. No, they're stressed because they have to go every day worried they won't be able to find food for their next meal or that their school's going to close down. At school, not only do they get the education that they need, but they get lunch and a safe place to go for majority of their day. These kids aren't worried about their homework or tests. They're worried about staying alive. For so many people, they don't understand the depth of this problem that children and families face in Guatemala. The United Nations states that over 46.5% of children in Guatemala are hungry because of the lack of food. These children aren't worried about their next big test or if their parents will be mad if their grade's too low. But instead, these children are worried about living their lives the next day. They aren't worried that they might not make it to next week. These students are fighting for their lives every single day. Adria works in the jungle school located in Guatemala, and we asked her a series of questions about her students that she works with every day in school. She shares with us a story of two children who she watched fight over something that could have changed one's life forever.
Things we see a lot. I will never forget the first time I saw a bigger boy fighting with a little girl, and I was like, that's not okay. I don't care what culture you're from. Like, that's just not okay. And when I went over to see what they were fighting over, he said, this little girl took my tortilla, one tortilla. And I was like, seriously? You're going to hit a little girl because she took one tortilla? Like, I'm sure you can get another tortilla. And he said, no, I didn't have anything to eat yesterday, and that's the only thing I have today.
These children every day have to fight to keep their school open or fight for food. But Adria says that in the end of the day, they are blessed by it and happy. How is it that these children who have lost so much aren't affected by their stress as those who are in Jackson Township? What makes them different? The answer is people.
However much money we make, we cannot be fully happy until we know that someone else needs us, that someone else depends on our accomplishments, or on the love that we have to share.
Like Olivia just said, people need people. We need people to show us that someone needs us, that we're needed. People want to see that someone else will benefit from something that they did right. Many people who are struggling with anxiety need the help and support of their friends and family around them. They need to be with the people that they love, doing the things that they love. These could be playing a sport, dancing, laughing, singing, anything. Mental Health believes that being with others can significantly affect one's anxiety in a good way. They wrote that first, socialization increases a hormone that decreases anxiety levels and makes us feel more confident in our ability to cope with stressors. Being with people who love us make us feel more comfortable and more like ourselves. It drowns out the problem that we may be going through at school or in our home and can just make a person more calm and take their anxiety away. So many people don't realize that the main solution to anxiety is just to spend time with those around us, with people. The solution is right in front of our eyes, and all we need to do is take it. So many people feel like they'll never be able to overcome their anxiety, the anxiety that they get at school or in their education. But what they don't realize is the people around us, the people who love us, are the key to it all. the reason that people are still going, why they're still trying to fight their anxiety every single day.